Today for Devotions with Daniella, we are reading Generation Hope, How Inclusive Economics Can Help Us All Thrive. This is my asynchronous book club. You can get copies of this attached to read along with me. And whoops, I can't actually just read anymore because TikTok is a cult. But just a couple parts of this section I want to read out loud. The word oligarch is synonymous with wealthy Russian business people. But collusion between the business class and the political class is prevalent throughout the world. In democratic, communist, and authoritarian regimes alike. In Mexico, Carlos Slim Helu was granted control of almost all landline and mobile phone services and soon became the world's richest man from 2010 to 2013. He remains the 7th richest today. Nobody ever thinks of Mexico. In India, Reliance Industries, run by Mukesh Ambani, and the Adani Group, run by Gautam Adani, the 13th and 24th richest men in the world, respectively, both benefit from friendly government policies. With 1.42 billion people, India is now the most populous country in the world, overtaking China in April 2023. But the country's 100 richest people own assets equivalent to 1/4 of India's GDP. In 2015, China officially became home to the world's highest number of billionaires. Of the 1,133 billionaires they had in 2022, over 100 of them had seats in China's parliament. The kakistocracy is everywhere. And the kleptocracy, right? Because all of this came from government stuff, which is the point they're trying to make here. Crony capitalism isn't only reserved for corporations either. Nonprofit organizations with noble missions fall into the trap too, becoming piggy banks for their directors. The most notorious example is FIFA, the World Football Governing Body, a nonprofit whose mission is to make football truly global, diverse, and inclusive for the benefit of the entire world, supposedly. In 2015, FIFA was hit with a series of scandals when more than 24 FIFA officials and their associates were implicated in a 24-year self-enrichment scheme that reached the highest levels of FIFA management. In December 2022, after years of investigations and indictment, the United States Department of Justice said for the first time that representatives working for Russia and Qatar had bribed FIFA officials to secure hosting rights for the World Cup in men's soccer. Sadly, it's not just FIFA. Scores of nonprofit organizations have flouted the law, muddying the waters for the ones who genuinely follow their mission and make a difference for the world. And I still think nonprofits is so cloudy because under capitalism, every organization's primary mission is to perpetuate themselves. So nonprofits, for example, we know that in a complicated world, we're not going to have one solution for every person. So a good nonprofit that is actually meeting their customers' needs is going to be creating different paths for different people. And that's not how you get metrics, which is not how you raise funding. So by definition, nonprofits are creating worse products for people, worse help, less individualized, so that they can stay in business. Capitalism is problematic. Aristotle considered oligarchy a deviant form of rule that tended to arise when elites became corrupt and were no longer interested in the common good, but only in enriching themselves. Throughout history, power structures considered to be oligarchies have often been viewed as tyrannical, relying on public obedience or oppression to exist. Aristotle pioneered the use of the term as meaning rule by the rich, for which another term commonly used today is plutocracy. And guess what? Who started it? This is a good one, though. Case in point, after the fall of Lehman Brothers, the next domino was Goldman Sachs. However, at the time, the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury was Hank Paulson. Prior to his role in the Department of Treasury, Paulson was the chairman and chief executive officer of Goldman Sachs. Paulson let Lehman fail, but bailed out Goldman. And then it goes into this all started with It all started with in the US with the likes of Vanderbilt, railroads, Rockefeller, oil, and Carnegie, steel. Three of the greatest businessmen America has ever known each built their vast empires by exploiting workers and consumers, often using predatory and unfair practices. They were the most notorious robber barons until the Roosevelt administration sued successfully to break up such monopolies. And Andrew Carnegie, who was one of the first ever millionaires in the modern world, was shocked that Americans just let him get away with having so much money when other people were homeless and exploited. And all he had to do was a couple of public works and Carnegie Hall and create libraries, right? And now our billionaires don't even do that. Jeff Bezos famously does not do charity. But we can send Venus rockets to the moon. Y'all, we're going to eat the billionaires soon. I really think we are. Anyway, check out Generation Hope, how inclusive economics can help us all thrive. I'll be working on this for the next couple months.